Hello, my name is Ariel and I'm back with a new video. And in today's video, I make myself a little special thing. Let me paint you the picture. I was at Joanns the other day, just picking up one or two things for finishing a project. And I was looking through the remnants bin, as you do. It really shouldn't because I'm trying not to buy any fabric, but I'm glad I did this day because I found two fabrics that just instantly I fell in love with, and it felt like destiny. The first item I got was this adorable fleece. I don't normally buy fleece, but come on, it's got my favorite things in it. It's got the color pink, which I absolutely love. It's got the shade black, which I really love. And then it's got tarot cards and astrology symbols all over it, which I guess is more esoteric, occult kind of stuff, and I like that kind of stuff. And I love this material. It's so soft. I don't normally buy fleece, but I'll make an exception. I mean, look at it. It's adorable. How can you not make an exception? The other material that I got was this fuzzy blackness. It is so soft. It feels like, I'm not sure if you relate to this, but when I was a kid and you take bubble baths and you'd get like a bunch of that bubbly stuff on your hands and then you put your hands together, go like this. That is what this feels like. It is so soft and so fluffy to the touch. I love it, and I had to get some of it. Fortunately, the fleece was about a yard and then the fuzz was about a yard, so I thought, maybe I can just work these both together. And if you're wondering, work what together? What can you do with a yard of fleece and a yard of fuzz? What you can do, is what I'm going to do, is make a baby blanket. Now, before you get excited or have any other emotions, I'm not having a baby. I'm not acquiring a baby. There is no baby. I am the baby. Baby is me. I am making myself a baby blanket to use myself and only myself. And that's because it's cute and I think it's a good idea. I don't think babies should be the only people who get soft and fuzzy blankets. Plus, I recently found this pink satin blanket binding in among my bias tapes, and I thought, what am I going to ever do with this? I don't make blankets, I hate quilting. Now, I can't say that there's divine intervention in the world, but I found this like the day before I picked up all this blanket material, and I think it's just meant to be. And who am I to go against what the divine want for me? The divine want me to have a blanket, I'm gonna make a blanket. With that though, I am so excited and I'm ready to get started, so let us begin. I begin by laying out my fabric. I realized pretty quickly that these pieces were either marked incorrectly, or in the more likely case, I don't know how to read, because they are definitely different sizes. Not to worry, I have several mink remnants from the days when I thought I was going to make stuffed toys, until I realized I'm really bad at it, and I don't like doing it. Opting to match the pink tarot cards, I chose the lighter of the pink mink, and to make it look even more intentional, I will be adding the pink to both sides. Starting with one side, which I will pin very carefully, and then zigzag stitch very carefully. Then I pin it to the fleece with the fuzzy sides up, and matching the centers. I measure the distance between where the fluff ends to where the fleece ends, and then I mark that out on the mink fabric before cutting off the excess material. I realize now this is probably where things fell apart, but I digress. I repeat as before with pinning the mink to the fluff on the other side, and then carefully joining with a zigzag stitch. Once again, I lay out the blanket as flat as can be and mark where the mink should end. Then I take the plunge and cut to size. I join all the sides together with the trusty zigzag stitch, and then I go over all of those sides again with the serger to clean them up. Time to bind. So I know I will make some people cringe, but I'm going to cut this binding in half. Mostly because I don't have enough binding, but I also want to maximize my blanket's cozy potential, so having a minimal binding as possible is ideal. I iron that binding into a double fold by folding it in half first, and then I meet the edges to the central fold on both sides. I give it all one last press together, then attach it to the blanket with, you guessed it, another zigzag stitch. I pull out all the trapped fluff as I go, and I remember to miter the corners this time. My only debate now is how to tack the center of the blanket, because right now it's just one big empty hot pocket, if you will. I had considered stitching along the seams where the fluff and the mink meet, but then I remembered I had this metallic embroidery floss that I can use to tack it down instead. So I give that a go by tacking the centers of the constellations. However, I realized how uncomfortable metallic thread is when I ran my hand over the blanket, so I decided to pull them out and ultimately went with not doing anything to tack it down. It's really fine. And I'm ready for the reveal. Well, there you have it, another project down. I heavily debated on whether or not I was even going to post this video after I had completed the blanket, because it certainly does not look very professional, or I would even say very good. The thing is, the internet is filled with Instagram-worthy pictures and products, and that's just not reality. Sometimes projects are going to turn out like poo. Does not make them any less valid. I actually really like my blanket. I think it is super cute and it's super soft. I slept with it last night and that's just cozy and snuggly as a bug in a rug. And even though it is pretty shoddy looking as my first blanket I've ever made, it still does its job. I think if I did it again, I would probably do a stabilizer in between the layers, probably attach it to the fleece. Because it was so stretchy, I cut the back too small. That's also another thing. I'll probably not cut the back until I'm actually sewing it together and just cut it down as I'm working. But for a first project, I'm satisfied with how it looks, even though it does kind of look like trash. But I'm happy with it, and that's the point. I at least hope this video was somewhat entertaining, even if the product came out not looking that great. As far as my grade for this goes, I'm gonna say a C for effort. Yeah, I did buy fabric recently for it, although I bought it on a gift card, and to me that's pretty much free money. But I did use up other materials, and I did use up that satin blanket binding, which I've been meaning to do something with, so I'm glad I actually got to do something with. Because I've never made a blanket before, I think just branching out of my comfort zone and trying something new with materials I'm not really used to working with, I feel like I deserve at least a C, maybe a D. Maybe a D+, okay? I hope you like this video, and if you do, please consider liking and subscribing as I release a new video every other weekend, or in this case, every weekend until I catch up on my Halloween stuff. But until next time, you have a good day. Bye!